Ever walk out of a meeting and immediately forget what you just talked about?
Happens all the time,
Just
right?
like poof, gone. But what if there was a way to remember everything from every single customer conversation? That's what we're looking at today.
AI is changing the game, isn't it?
Exactly. We're diving into AI-driven conversation intelligence with TranscribeIQ, and especially how their Chrome extension works with platforms like Gong.
Because it's not just about transcribing anymore, is it?
No, it's way more than that.
It's about getting those golden insights that would just slip through the cracks.
And just to clarify, TranscribeIQ isn't the one actually transcribing the calls, right?
Right. It works with the transcripts you already have, like from Zoom, Google Meet, MS, Teams.
Gong, especially.
Exactly. It's like an extra layer on top.
So it's taking those raw transcripts. What's it doing with them?
Think of it like you have a steak, right?
Okay.
It's good on its own, but it needs a little something extra.
The seasoning.
Yes. TranscribeIQ is the seasoning, the sides, the works. It turns that basic transcript into something you can actually use.
Actionable insights. I like that. But for someone listening, how does this actually help them in their work?
Imagine you're in sales, right? Juggling all these deals, tons of calls. It's easy to forget little details.
Oh, tell me about it. Then you're trying to piece things together from, scattered notes.
Exactly. But with TranscribeIQ, you could just ask, what were the client's top objections? Or what are the key things they're looking for?
Instead of digging through everything.
And it's not just summarizing. Say you're about to close a big deal, right?
Lots of calls, different people involved.
You think it's going great, and then nothing.
The worst.
This is where that multi-call analysis comes in. TranscribeIQ can analyze up to 6 Gong calls at once.
So you're seeing the whole picture.
Exactly. Patterns, changes, you name it. It's like having X-ray vision.
You can address problems before they even start.
Now, let's say you're in customer success, dealing with an issue. Instead of scrambling, you can use TranscribeIQ to get the full story.
All their past interactions, what they like, don't like.
Gives you that context to really help them. And for product teams,
Yeah, how does this help them?
imagine being able to see trends in what features people want.
Real data, not just a few comments.
And it's all right there. Easy to use. That Chrome extension we talked about, it's all integrated.
So you can start analyzing calls right away, supercharging what you already have.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is already blowing my mind, but let's get really specific. You mentioned those custom AI models. What are those all about?
Let's say you're doing a training session with a client, right? Big one. You want to be totally on top of it.
Of course, who doesn't?
TranscribeIQ actually has an analysis specifically for training prep.
No way, really. What does it do?
It digs into things you wouldn't catch just from notes, like how they're actually using the product, any weak points in their team's skills.
So you walk in knowing exactly where they need help.
Exactly. It even suggests things to talk about that you might not have thought of.
Like a cheat sheet for the whole team's needs. That's wild. We've talked a lot about sales and customer success. What about product teams? How does this help them?
They're the ones building the product, right? So they need to know what customers actually want.
And this gives them that info directly from the source.
Think about it. They can't be on every sales call. But with this, they can see the patterns, what's frustrating people, what features are being requested over and over.
Instead of just guessing or going off a few random comments.
Exactly. They can prioritize what to build based on, hard data. That's huge for making sure they're building the right things.
Absolutely. Instead of just putting out fires, they're getting ahead of the game.
And remember, it's not just about problems. It's also about how people are using the product. Are they finding weird workarounds, using features in ways you didn't expect?
That's pure gold for a product team. Like a window into how people are actually using what they build.
And that's where those custom AI models really come in. There are specific ones for different needs, not just the general ones.
So it's tailored, not just one size fits all.
Right. Say you're in sales and you want to know why some deals just go nowhere. There's an analysis for that.
Really? Can it tell you the exact moment things went wrong?
Yep. The language used, how people were feeling, even what they talked about, it can spot those little signs.
And you can learn from it instead of just being like, well, that's weird. What about those big client reviews, the ones that make or break things?
Those are tough, for sure. But TranscribeIQ has your back there too. Their analysis for those is huge.
Tell me everything. How does it work?
Instead of you pulling together info from everywhere, it analyzes everything with that client. Where you've done great, where there have been issues, even what to talk about in the meeting.
So you're not blindsided. You know exactly what to focus on.
Right. It all comes down to having those transcripts and then the right tools to unlock what they're really telling us.
Like we've had all this valuable info just sitting there.
Yeah.
And now we can finally tap into it. But with all this talk about data, it's easy to forget about the human side of things.
Absolutely. This tech isn't about replacing us.
It's about giving us superpowers.
Exactly. It frees us up to actually connect with people, be creative, and build those relationships.
So it's like AI is giving us a boost, not taking over.
Right. Working smarter, not harder. Right.
Love it. But for people listening who are thinking, okay, this is awesome, but where do I even start? What's the easiest way in with something like TranscribeIQ?
Honestly, it's surprisingly simple. Remember we were talking about that Chrome extension?
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to get started.
So you could literally be listening to this right now, install it, and be up and running by the end.
Pretty much. No crazy setup or anything.
And if you're ready to go all in, like really unlock everything, what then?
TranscribeIQ has plans for everything, even teams who need something super specific,
Like their own AI models. Wow.
Exactly. Whatever your industry or how you do things, they can probably handle it.
That's amazing. It really feels like TranscribeIQ is making this whole world of AI accessible, not just for the tech wizards.
Totally. And we're just getting started. Who knows what's next, right?
Exciting times. This has been such a great deep dive. I feel like my brain is bursting with new ideas about how we communicate, how we work. Before we go, I got to ask you one last thing. If you could ask one question, just one, about your customer conversations and get that instant AI answer, what would it be? What are we missing? Just because there's too much to process,
Wow. That really gets to the heart of it. What don't we know?
Right. It's about really listening, even when we don't realize we should be. And now we have the tools to do that.
It's a whole new world.
Well said. Thanks for joining me on this incredible deep dive into AI-powered conversation analysis with TranscribeIQ. Until next time, keep those conversations going, keep asking those questions, and most importantly, keep listening because you never know what you might discover.